Welcome back, everybody. This Week in America on the Blue Funk Broadcasting Radio Network. Great to have you with us on the program. Our website, thisweekinamerica.us. As mentioned, our guest on the show today is Nancy Harper. She spent 31 years in public education as a teacher, dean of students, head guidance counselor, taught the life skills class to freshman athletes at Ball State University for 10 years, is the author of the workbook Life Skills, Essential for Personal Growth on the Ever-Changing Road of Life. She also operates a private practice in adolescent and family counseling. Nancy Harper, welcome to This Week in America. Great to have you with us on the show.
Thank you very much for having me. I love talking about my book and my workbook and how it can help people.
Well, there's so many good things in there, and I want to start off by talking about, and I know something that you spent a lot of time talking about, tips for helping kids cope with stress, and then we'll get into helping college kids go through that period there too. Most of us as parents think, okay, we've got the stress in the family. We've got financial problems, work problems, marriage problems. What in the world can be impacting a kid? They just have to get up, go to school, and then play for the rest of the day. What kind of stress do you find that kids are under? Because in your private practice, you deal with kids from all types of situations. What type of stress are they under?
Well, I want to categorize it like as two types of stress. When school is in session, you have to understand that in Indiana, the stress that is on teachers as far as the kids meeting certain standards.
Right.
Stress flows downhill. And it is incredible what kind of stress is put on these students by the teachers. And they don't intend to. It's just the way it is.
Well, in many situations, a teacher's future in teaching, as well as their pay, could be tied to how they do in the test. So I would assume it's only natural that some kids are able to pick up on this, that, wow, teachers really under a lot of stress with these tests we've got coming up.
Oh, absolutely. And when kids are in the classroom and, they're trying to maintain some kind of focus and trying to get better grades, it's just incredible because, you know what? I was a teacher once, and I know that we don't have a clue what every kid in there has brought with them into the classroom, meaning from home.
Right,
okay?
right.
How much stress is going on at home? How much, if they've had anything to eat, if they fought with their brothers and sisters, or if in the hallway they have had a conflict with some other kids. So it's, it is just incredible how much stress kids are under today in school situations.
How, as parents, can we tell whether our children are under stress and whether it's to the point that we really need to intervene here?
Well, I think that one good way to tell is, one, their grades. Two, listen to how they're talking about school and listen to what they're saying, because if they're talking about other kids and how they're being treated, or if, the teacher is on them about their disciplinary things and they're not fitting into the discipline that the teacher expects, it's incredible. You have to listen to your kid and then put it in your mind and say, wow, what are they really going through?
I think a lot of parents are so concerned about bullying, and bullying takes on so many different aspects and signs of that. And sometimes a child is really afraid to come home and to say anything. Are there signs that we should watch for with our kids to see if maybe they are victims of bullying of some type?
Well, one of the big signs is they don't want to go to school and they want to stay home, and they don't like going to activities, or they just are negative about the whole atmosphere of school. I don't like it. I don't, So those are very, very big, vivid signs that something is going on. And, sometimes as parents, we say, oh, just ignore it. Come on. A kid can't ignore anything.
No,
We as
no.
adults can't ignore anything.
No, that sounds like you should be able to put it in perspective and go on. But when you're dealing, with kids that are somewhat fragile, ego and emotionally anyway, I'm sure that's difficult. What role does And I'm sure it's something that you've seen evolve in all the years that you've been teaching. Social media, what problems does that bring in? And even from the aspect of maybe I'm a child, the family's got financial problems, and I can't afford all the new technology that everybody else in the classroom seems to have. The latest phone, this type of thing.
Oh, they feel totally out of it because that that is I remember when I was in school, the popular kids,
Yes, yes.
they had all the stuff. Well, the popular kids now have all the tools and the the things that they need in order to be up with the times. That's what it's about. And some of the kids that don't have those things, they just feel left out and they don't know how to fit in.
And how do you explain to your child that I understand, but we just can't buy that technology for you? How difficult is that to explain to the child?
Well, it's very difficult, but I think that the parent needs to put themselves in the child's place because it has changed so much over the last 10 years. School settings, social media, and parents often aren't even caught up with the social media. And it's very difficult for them to understand the importance of it to a kid. They don't understand why it's so important to a kid to have these toys. They
You're,
don't.
you're listening to This Week in America on the Blue Funk Broadcasting Radio Network. Our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Information on our guest on the program there as well. Nancy Harper spent 31 years in public education. As a teacher, dean of students, head guidance counselor, a life skills counselor as well. Nancy is the author of the workbook, Life Skills Essential for Personal Growth on the Ever-Changing Road of Life. It's available at Amazon.com. Information, of course, at Nancy's website, which is harperlifeskills.com. All that information available on our website. And in that book, and I want to talk about some of the skills that you talk about, some of the things that we need, because even as adults, we can go back and look and go, yeah, that's not a bad idea for me right now. Or even if you're 8, 9 years old, it's good to know these things. But something that we're just talking about there that you talk about in the book, but it's so important to younger students as well, and that's time management. And that sounds like a big word, and the techniques sometimes are not all that easy for kids to understand. Talk a little bit about time management. For the younger ones, you're talking about all this, everything that got going on around them now to find time for things they need to do, including homework. And in college, where for many of these kids, for the first young adults for the first time, their time is their own. They can do whatever they want with that time and to be able to manage it properly. Talk a little bit about time management and some of the issues.
Okay, Rick, thank you for asking me. That's my favorite chapter. I have talked about this to my college students, and they come to college, and you can't believe I have 50 and 60 and 70 in every one of my semester classes, and you can't believe how many kids still practice procrastination. That is something that I really focus on in time management. And because procrastination affects everything, their stress, getting it done, and it's just an incredible process of life. And for athletes, it's understandable they don't have a lot of time because of the time schedule they have to fix
Right.
or have to work into. Well, neither do high school kids. They've got the same amount of time. That's something we all have, the same amount. But bottom line is, when you begin to put stuff off, oh, you are causing yourself a whole lot of problems that you have never really blamed it on the right thing, and that is your habit of procrastination.
What are some tips that you give them on how they can better manage their time?
Well, I tell them to, when it's assigned, do it. And, just don't think about putting it off. Just take a few minutes, because sometimes, and you've been here, something doesn't take as long as you think it's going to take.
Yes. Yes.
And so consequently, even in high school and elementary, when a student is given an assignment, the teacher usually gives them a few minutes. be amazed about how much you can accomplish in a few minutes toward that assignment.
Do you find that it works better? I find as I get older, these things that I need to do during the day that I procrastinate, I put off, usually are weighing on my mind. And sometimes I'm subconsciously probably putting them off because I really don't want to do them. I'm thinking, you know what? If I just suck it up, get them done at the beginning of the day, that's out of the way, and I feel better the rest of the day.
Oh, and that's a good point because I look at some of the reasons why we procrastinate. One, some of us are perfectionists, and if we're not going to do it perfect, we are going to put it off until we feel like it's the right time to do it and we're in the mood. Then there's others who the timing, they just don't have a good balance of how long something is going to take. One of my favorite skills that I use with the college kids is this. I have them leave procrastination on their seat the night that we talk about it. And I have them pat their seat and tell it goodbye, procrastination. I'm not going to have you. You are not part of my life anymore. And then I tell them the next time they come into the classroom, they cannot sit in that seat.
Interesting. And it works, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they love it. Yeah, it works.
Nancy Harper is our guest on This Week in America. The book is Life Skills Essential for Personal Growth on the Ever-Changing Road of Life. She's a life skills counselor, talking about the class she teaches at Ball State University, has taught for 10 years with athletes there. We've got a few minutes left in the program. Boy, it's going by quickly. HarperLifeSkills.com, by the way, is her website. The book's available there as well as at Amazon.com. You talk, in fact, the book starts with the road of life, and you make some real interesting observations there. And one you're talking about before you really start off, where you figure out the road of life and your road to success, you need to know yourself. How difficult is that? It sounds simple enough, but how difficult is that for all of us to really know who we are?
Right. And that's what I brought that out at the beginning, because that's what you are beginning to learn when you're working all through this workbook. At the end of every chapter, there is a worksheet. And as you work through the book, you begin to understand yourself better. What kind of a decision maker am I? Is procrastination my problem? Am I stressed out? And one of my favorite chapters in there is about forgiveness. And I titled that chapter, The Only Way to Win. And, and then I talk about conflict, but there's always a worksheet, and it's personalized so that you can, once you finish this book, you will have a better understanding of who you are, what you're all about, and where you're going.
Well, one thing that you talk about is learn to love adversity. And you are saying that let it change us and it helps build character. And then you say that's something that's really sort of missing now, finding people of good quality character.
Well, it is. And that's why I want you to examine it. And one of the things that I help them examine is the most difficult decisions that cause us adversity are the decisions that other people make and we have to live with. Divorce, their drug abuse, all kinds of things. And I've just named a couple. But when other people make decisions and we have to live with them, those are the most difficult. And that's adversity. How do you do it? How do you live with somebody bullying you in the hallway? How do you live with somebody making a smart comment about something you've got on today? So I want you to understand, your listeners to understand that this can be broken down or beefed up, because I've found my adults who have learned so much and have been able to examine what their best qualities are based on working through this work.
Another part that I find, and with so many interesting things here, and we'll have Nancy back on another program, you talk about in the dreams category, and we all, even when we're 50 years old, still have dreams or would like to. You talk about two things that we really need to consider, gut feeling and timing. And I'm not giving you much time, but why are those so important to us in setting dreams?
Well, because you have a gut feeling about what you can really accomplish. As you begin to know yourself, then you begin to understand what you're made of and what you can realistically accomplish. And so, that's very important in your gut feeling. We have a lot of feelings about, okay, some kid that's being harassed by another kid in the hallway. Okay, what's your gut feeling? Why are they doing that? Well, they might just like your reaction. What's your gut feeling? Are you going to make a difference? And are they going to shut up? Probably not. So your gut feeling is, I just have to move on, say, don't talk to me that way, please, and then move on. And so consequently, when we think about the timing, you've got to be accurate on when to set your boundary. And that's important in being bullied, is just look at them in the eye and say, please don't talk to me that way. And you've set the boundary. That's all you can do. The rest of it is their choice.
Interesting discussion. And like I said, we'll have Nancy back on the program. The time goes too quickly. Nancy Harper has been our guest on the program. Her website is harperlifeskills.com. The book is Life Skills Essential for Personal Growth on the Ever-Changing Road of Life. That's available at Amazon.com, at Nancy's website, harperlifeskills.com, and information, of course, at our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Nancy, it's been a pleasure to have you on the program. Happy birthday, and thank you thank you for joining us on the program.
It's been great. Thank you for listening.
We definitely will have you back. Great points. You're listening to This Week in America on the Blue Funk Broadcasting Radio Network.